Governor Mutua, now it seems you are so much on the courts, and there's another issue here of if you're not vaccinated, there's no access to government services. In fact, there's a Nairobi advocate who has moved to court now in a bid to stop the government's directive to have all unvaccinated Kenyans receive the COVID-19 jab before 21st of December 2021 deadline. Is this the right move, considering even in the devolution conference where you are, the 3,000 delegates must show evidence of having been vaccinated?
Well, it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. As you know, right now there's a spike of COVID in Europe, whereby countries like Austria, Germany are starting to lock down. They're estimating hundreds of thousands of people will die by spring, that is by May, June of this coming year. So there's a real fear about the spread of COVID all over the world. The other thing is that it has been shown clearly that high vaccination helps. If you go to a country like Israel, for example, everything is open up because I believe over 80% have been vaccinated. And so the issue is twofold. One is, are there enough vaccines for Kenyans to vaccinate? Whenever we get vaccines in charcoals, they run out the same day because people come and line up to be vaccinated, and then we demand for more. We have enough vaccines even before we declare that all people need to be vaccinated. Nevertheless, there are those people who are naysayers, who are refusing to be vaccinated, who are saying they will not be vaccinated because of one propaganda issue or another, one political or religious belief or another. That is okay, that's their purview. So the issue is that should we endanger the lives of the vaccinated or the lives of other people by bringing in the non-vaccinated to mingle with them? Because science has shown that if you are not vaccinated, chances of being sick are higher, chances of passing the COVID virus is higher than the vaccinated. So it's catch-22. Now, I welcome the court case. I'd like to hear what the court says, because do you force people to be vaccinated unless you can provide enough vaccines? The other way is that you force people to give you services when there is vaccine and you refuse to take the vaccine and you're in danger of killing them. So, as I said, it's a catch-22. It's going to be a very interesting court case.
Yeah. Mweke, what do you think? Should you force people to get vaccinated?
No, we shouldn't, but getting vaccinated is the right thing. I think I agree with Governor Mutua. First of all, we have enough vaccines so that people can get vaccinated. So COVID has been real. It has brought the world to a halt. It has killed a lot of people, and a lot of people have been very, very sick with this pandemic. I myself am a proponent for vaccination, and I urge anybody who can get the hold of the vaccine to go out and get vaccinated. Why? Because it saves lives. It helps prevent the spread of COVID-19. So if anybody has not been vaccinated fully, I am a proponent of them getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
But Trevor, we are also, again, a country of laws. Our Constitution in Article 6.3 says that national organs must ensure services to all, reasonable government services to all. So I think why somebody has gone to court is, if the Supreme Law says that you cannot be denied services, then how does a public officer or a state officer come and go against the Constitution and threaten Kenyans that they'll be denied services if they're not vaccinated?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the social issue of it, where yes, I think everybody should get vaccinated because it saves lives. But we're also a country of laws.
Yeah.
Services are supposed to be dispensed. Number two, even if the law said that if you're not vaccinated, you can't access government services, do you have enough vaccines to make sure that you cover everybody indiscriminately? So I think I'll go back to the law on this, and we'll wait to see how the courts are going to rule on this matter.
Yeah.
I suspect that it will be ruled an unconstitutional declaration, because the Constitution says that services should be provided indiscriminately to all Kenyans.
Yeah.
So let's wait and see what really the courts will say. But really, as a country, we need to follow the law.
Okay.
And just, you know, as Mheshimiwa Wanga said earlier about the courts pronouncing themselves on the executive, law is a science.
Yeah.
Courts look at the evidence before them and they make a ruling. And we must have confidence in our judicial process. So if the executive comes out and is blatantly unconstitutional, of course they'll be ruled against.
Okay.
So we also ask the executive, I mean, you're state officers, you're bound by the Public Officers and Ethics Act.
Yeah.
Just follow the law. And if you follow the law, you will never get into trouble.
Okay. Wanga, we all agree that getting the vaccine is an important thing, but should it be pegged to government services?
Yes.
It should?
Yeah. In fact, for as long as we have vaccines,
yeah,
we should find a mechanism of ensuring our people are vaccinated. You can't have your cake and eat it. These same Kenyans are the ones who said, lift the curfew. We don't want curfew. We don't want to sit in our homes. We don't want to. We don't want these things. Anything that is denying us, our usual normal life.
Yeah.
And I think the government considered and said, yes, proceed. There's no curfew. There's no restriction. Children are back to school. Businesses are back up and running. But the government still has a cardinal responsibility to ensure its citizens are safe. And also a cardinal responsibility to ensure our country remains a space where we still have, we are removed from the red list,
yeah,
even when you're traveling or when people are traveling into the country. So I believe Kenyans, we can't have our cake and eat it.
Okay.
Let's go and get vaccinated. And there must be incentives to ensure people are vaccinated, Trevor. If you say it's an option, and I'm just waiting, yes, and the courts, as Moike says, will come and say, no, it's our right and so on. We must have rights, but where your rights end, the next person's rights, begin, and rights must be accompanied by responsibility.
Yeah.
And responsibility here is getting vaccinated. So I don't think we should want to appear nice and just say, no, Kenyans, you have rights, what have you, and so on and so forth. What about the right of the person who's providing you with services? So for me, the only factor we need to look at is availability of the vaccine. If the vaccine is available, then you can now go and access services. And Trevor, that's the only way we're going to increase our numbers. If we leave it optional, our numbers will remain. If another, phase of COVID comes, Kenyans will start crying again, oh, you've returned us to you've returned us to curfew, you've returned us to
lockdown.
All these things. Yeah. So I think I am a supporter, full supporter, yeah, of the statement that says either you're vaccinated or you don't receive services. But these mandates, Trevor, this vaccination or mask mandates and so on, they are contested everywhere around the world. And governments take different approaches. Yeah. If you're China, you say, my friend, you're vaccinated, that's when you move. If you're the US, you go to court and say, okay, the mandate is applicable here and not applicable there and so on, depending on your state. If you're Kenya, let's take our approach. And I think our approach should be, yeah, get vaccinated before you get services. All of us will be happy at the end of the day.
Okay.
That sounds like a dictatorship.
Yes, Trevor, maybe what I'd like to do is to advise my friend Mutahi Kagwe, because in politics, what we do, for example, since we promulgated the new constitution, yeah, and every time when we are holding elections, it does not matter whether you participated last year or the other year. What we do is we do continuous civic education. Now, I would want to urge my friend Mutahi Kagwe that the best way out in this is to continue to educate the people. One thing that we must admit, Trevor, and it is good to speak about these issues the way they are.
Yeah.
Since we were struck by corona and we started the vaccination process and testing our people, yes, people got information out of especially the personal scare that if you get afflicted, you are likely to die. But the education itself, and especially when the vaccines were introduced, in our country, there has been a lot of propaganda going around, as you know. There are propaganda that if you get vaccinated, it is a means of, it's a secret method of family planning. Others, there were rumors that you would die after 2 years. Even there were international social media tweets and messages. Yeah. And you expect that the consumers of this information, even if from illegal sources, is the same people that you want to vaccinate. And so the first best platform to address the problem that the Cabinet Secretary is trying to address is to educate the people. Let the people know the value. Let the people know that they're safe, because that's what matters. By the way, I'll tell you that no one will say that they're not going to get vaccinated just out of bravado, that you're just going to be hard-headed and say, I don't want to get vaccinated. Yeah. Most of those who say they don't want to have their own reasons, personal, or maybe out of those kind of rumors that they will be trying to defend. And everybody wants to live. Nobody wants to die tomorrow. And so, based on that, you would be asking yourself first to give a proper solution, is why then would people be saying that they do not want to get vaccinated. Trevor, let me remind our viewers and remind my good friend Mutahi, because he's a good friend of mine, and I know he's trying to do a noble job, the fate of a gadget called Alcoblo. Yeah. You remember, when we introduced Alcoblo, we wanted to do a very good job, a noble thing, of ensuring that Kenyans don't die on the road because they're driving when drunk. Mm. And then, because of some of those failures in between the process, people found their way to court, like the way they have done now, and then the Alcoblo was declared unconstitutional. And I could say you can laugh at that for the time being. And, but finally, the fate of that meant that anyway, because of that determination, you can drive drunk. I mean, that is the end result, Trevor. And so, are we safer, better, because of that determination? Yet it was based on a process that was in the judiciary and which can be found within our laws. Yeah. You get what I mean? And so, you know, the best way to mitigate this is to ensure that there is information, that people make an informed decision. I want to say also that, Trevor, do not think that it is only people who are illiterate that do not want to take the vaccine. Yeah. I saw on international media the other day at an international event, a tennis event in Australia, where superstars themselves, who are world-renowned, were having a big case of being barred from accessing the sport facility because they were saying, we cannot be vaccinated. The reason why they were refusing the vaccine, they were saying there are gaps, there are areas we are still not sure about this vaccine. I mean, people who are educated and known and wealthy, for that matter. So I think our best solution so that we can get our people to consume, to get vaccinated, and I advocate. Personally, I've been doing this at a personal level when I go to my meetings in my county and around the country, telling our people to get vaccinated. It is good for us. Okay. So the message can be spread with information, with knowledge, with education, but not necessarily with the hammer. Okay. But however, let us also note that there are countries where services are being denied. I think it was my running mate the other day who said he was in the US, and he went into some restaurants, and then he would find a big notice at the restaurant that you cannot access services in this restaurant unless you are vaccinated, unless you have a certificate. Indeed, that happens even in supermarkets. I saw one in the Middle East whereby you can't enter the supermarket without proof that you've been vaccinated. It's been happening. Okay. It's not that we would be the first country to do it, but why don't we try the better way of educating our people? Then people will consume and they'll get vaccinated.
We're running out of time here, but there's the